So we got here, first month 1990, so end of the line for the 60 series cruisers. This was an FJ62, and it's come a long way since. A gentleman brought this in the yard and said that he no longer wants it. We'd be interested in wrecking it or doing what we want with it. So $1,000 we offered him because it had a few bits we were going to use on the 40 series, the disc brakes, the backing plates, a few other bits and bobs. And but I just saw something in this vehicle. It was beaten to death. There was big dents in the side of it. There was rust in the gutters, but it ran, it moves, it drove, the gearbox is fine. And I don't know, I just jumped on it. I had to. I've been without a full drive at this time for about 4 months. So me and the family, we're always on the beach. That's how we killed the last cruiser. Just needed to get back on the beach, and this was the perfect vehicle to do that. But it needed a lot of work. So, you know, what didn't need doing on this thing? So the paint first, we stripped it back, there's a lot of bog in this. I'm not gonna lie to you. We pulled some of the dents out. It looked all right. Me and Maxie got the hammer into it, beaten. There was a massive dent in the side here. You can't even see it now. That's probably because there's about 2 inches of bog in there. The gutters, we just scurfed them back. There's a fair bit of rust up there, but just got a bit of fibre bog. This wasn't going to be a pretty rig. It was just to do one purpose and to get us on the beach. And it doesn't matter if it dies in the future, because it was destined for that anyway. So where do we start? It had all the flares. It had everything that needed. It had a horrible bumper ARB bar on the front of it that had been smashed up. But the rear bar on it I was quite interested in that. So, but what colour did I use? On the plate, it's dark metallic grey, right? So, but when I painted it, I did not want to get in. I'm not a panel beater. I'm not a painter, especially not with metallics and clear coats and stuff. So I looked for a colour which was a mono metallic, so I didn't have to put on loads of layers and then clear coat it and stuff like this. So this is actually Yamaha outboard grey, metallic, mono metallic. Just bang it on and it comes up like this. It's all right. It's not great. There are a few runs in it here and there, but overall I was pretty pleased with how that came out. We got the factory bumper bar there. Now I'm really into the flat front look on these. I don't go out back, and I'm not expecting, I know you shouldn't not expect to hit a kangaroo or anything, but I really like the look. And old Bartley out there, he donated that to me, legend. And it was a bit in rough state, there was no ends on it and stuff, but we scurfed it back and color coded it with the same Yamaha metallic grey, and it come up awesome. Now the rear bar, never expected it to come out. It's probably the best paint job on the whole vehicle, to be honest, but it's scurfed that back, had a few rust holes in it, we welded it up, got the strength back into it, and painted it. Someone's just welded the ball bar in there, so I cut the ball off. I'm never going to be using it to tow a trailer with that. It's too many unknowns going on there. So painted that up, that come up great. The gutters, now went to Fraser Island, so put a roof rack on it, and instantly, you should have seen the weight I had on the roof of this thing, punched a hole straight through the gutter, and back to square one really on the passenger side. But hey ho, it doesn't matter, because it's if I had spent $10,000 on a paint job, I would have been upset that happened, but I didn't. It was a cheap paint job. This monometallic paint, for instance, I got 7 litres in total with the hardener. It was only like $380. Now, what a bargain! You know, that if that was a metallic colour, it would have been triple that. So no, really pleased with the paint job. So we got the few little things we're missing. The side repeaters, or the indicators on the side there, they're brand new, genuine here at Mr. Land Cruiser. What else we got going on? These are off a wreck in the yard. Gone for the really dark tint, and that's because it's a right mess in there. It's basically still like it was when it came in, apart from a couple of things. Old Jason Ho, he gave me his turbo seats to go in there with the suspension in them. Makes it a lot easier to drive with this leaf spring suspension. And the gauge is the only thing to talk about in there. But Bear at Northside Tinting on Morayfield Road, he put the tint on for us. I think it's 5% all round. It looks really good. I left the chrome, was weighing up between blacking them out or leaving the chrome, but I've left it. I think it's come up all right with the handles and the other bits and bobs. So You might notice on the rear of the vehicle, I've done the quarter chop. Now this was because there was so much rust in the lower half of that rear quarter that it wasn't worth saving or even trying to. There was just, you could put your hand up in there. So just chop that off with the little swage line there and welded a flat plate in there. Come up really, really cool. Dave Reynolds, we were on our way to Fraser. We had a couple of days left and running out of time. He came up with the mud flaps for us. We've got a bit of mud, conveyor belt material out here that he cut up and got on there. That was perfect, and they're still on there today, so that's awesome. The suspension, now this already had a 2-inch lift in it, but I wanted more, right? So everybody always wants a little bit more lift. So I've gone again out the yard. A wreck came in, couldn't believe it, right? Underneath the mud, and was obviously the extended shackles, which were obvious, but also with that wreck was the Superior Engineering steering arms, which was a big bonus for us. Couldn't believe it. Just scuffed back the rust, all the dirt and muck, and there it was, Superior Engineering. So they were straight destined for this vehicle. So, but with that 4-inch lift, overall, the standard 60 series shocks just wouldn't work. So there wasn't enough travel in them. So what we've done, we've gone for 80 series rear 2-inch lift in the front and 79 series 2-inch lift in the rear. So that's given us our extra travel with that 4-inch lift so it doesn't bottom out. That's a really good budget way to get out of extending 4 inches on your suspension without spending loads of money on shock absorbers. So what else? Oh, nearly forgot, right? So first off, I had these bad boys on here, right? 35s, the General Grapplers. Now, they look really, really tough, right? And I really did like the look of them, but they're not practical, especially with what I've done under the bonnet. So I've taken these off and I'll be keeping these for a future build. So I've got something in the pipeline, so they won't go to waste, that's for sure. But the 35s are they're just a bit too big, bit too heavy. So I've gone down. I had these Federals at home off of good mate Simon Hay. I got them off about a year ago, part worns. So I bought the dynamic rims with the D. They're a negative 22 16-inch rim. They go a lot better. So they're not pushing those massive things around. So not quite so tough looking, but you know, hey ho, you can't have it all, can you? Right. Let's look under the bonnet. So remembering, this was a 3F. Now, it was on full gas. There was no petrol tanks in it whatsoever. So we dragged all that out of it. We've put a long-range belly tank up under there, dragged the old 3F out of it because it was missing and popping and the valves were all shot. So that came out and went out in the yard. We must have 8 or 9 2H's lying on their side here. We don't know really. I mean, if they're out in the yard, they're pretty much dead. So we just eeny, meeny, miny, mowed it, picked one up and dumped it in here. Now, I've been running it normally aspirated up until recently, especially with those 35s. It was really struggling up hills, especially traveling up the sunny coast. Wasn't too bad on the beach, but yeah, you know, it's a 2H. They're not known for their speed. But now we've got a vehicle came in, and it had one of Harley's, instantly recognised it, a turbo kit on it with one of Harley's manifolds. And instantly, like, I'm having that. If this turbo's any good, it's going on my 2H. So it's really transformed it, actually. I'm running 15 pound through it. I've got the gauges in there, so I'm constantly watching my EGTs and my boost just to make sure that we're all hunky-dory. It does get a little bit hot, and especially with those 35s. That's another reason I've gone for the 33s now, to keep those temps down when you're really on boost, really climbing hills and that. It goes a lot better. So that's it for under the bonnet, apart from obviously a real simple dual battery system we got going on here with a red arc isolator. That just goes through to a simple Anderson plug and a cigarette socket in the back for my fridge when we're traveling. Other than that, that's pretty much it going on here. Yeah, I've got plenty more in the pipeline for this. Interior, I've got a fridge slide to go in it to get my fridge, because obviously got quite a big lift, so it's a bit of a struggle to get it out. I've got to sort the interior out, sort of stereo out and things like that in it. But at the moment, we're enjoying this. We're up the beach every weekend, or as much as we can be. So for me, it's been a really successful build. And let's face it, for the budget, I'm in for about, I mean, I've had a lot of help here and there, and I don't think I would have kept it to this budget if it wasn't for the yard. But we're in for 3,500. That's including buying the vehicle. So you can't count your hours and your labour in that either, because it's just, it would blow out. But if you can do these things yourself, it just shows you that you can get a really cool rig. You can get out there for not a lot of money. Check it out.